Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. You're joining me today on the rear balcony of the house, and the reason for that is because the way the sun travels round where we live, underneath the trestle this morning, because I'm doing the broadcast, I think just a little bit earlier, the sun is right up in there. The front balcony, the sun is also right up in there as well. And round the back of the house, it's nice and cool. However, by this afternoon, round the back here, it will be absolutely roasting hot. So anyway, this is the lookout from the back of the house. If I haven't shown you this for a while, over there, where my hand is pointing, that's the area of Kerry and Amber Lockerbie, around that way down there. And then obviously you've got the hills here. And then as we pan right the way right, over in the distance, where the clouds are, would be the direction going up towards Volymez, all right, and around that area. Pigadak here as well, along that way. There is a road up there that can take you all the way up to the top end of the island. If you get on, that's always quite a nice drive as well. But as you can see, we've got a bit of cloud in the sky. Thank you to Amanda for a concise weather forecast. She says today, Ginge, it's going to be 30, but it's going to feel like 33. We still got fire warnings from the fire brigade, just warning everybody just to be careful with their barbecues and naked flames, and also with their picnics as well, so you don't inadvertently cause a fire. Now, I've lost my seat to Domino, and little Mr. Pickles down there as well. He's messing about as well, aren't you, darling? So I shall squeeze myself in on the end here and bring you the news. To be honest, there's been a lot going on within the last 24 hours, which has been a little bit unsettling, especially anybody involved with entertainment at the moment, because of things that are happening. But anyway, I'll get onto that in just a short while. Just to let you know that we had a kind of little emergency staff meeting yesterday at Magdalena's. I will be back in on the 20th of July, which is next Tuesday. Basically just DJing. As for live entertainment, that is still a bit up in the air at the moment, waiting to see what regulations come in on the 21st of July. I'll go into a little bit more detail on that in just a short while, when you start hearing the news about what's been happening here in Greece in the last 24 hours. Anyway, just to let you know, Jane today has got a long day for her because she's at the airport, and the arrivals today are looking interesting, shall we say. First of all, we got one flight in from Israel, we got two in from Athens, one from Brussels, one from the Czech Republic, two from Amsterdam. We've got 6 flights in from Germany today, one flight from Austria, one flight from Kefalonia and Corfu, and then we have 4 flights in from the UK today. Don't jump on there, lovely boy, thank you. We've got a TUI flight from Birmingham at 11:30. We've then got a TUI flight from Manchester at 12:20. We've then got an EasyJet from London Gatwick at 1400, and then we've also got a British Airways from London at 1955. So as you can see, the Brits are slowly coming. Freedom Day for you guys supposedly tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see how much freedom you actually do eventually get, and if Boris will go back on his word. But we will wait and see about that tomorrow. Now, COVID in the last 24 hours has kind of gone down just a little bit. New infections, the other day I reported to you 2,691. Well, that's down. New infection rate as of yesterday, 2,562. 8 new cases identified in entries into the country. That was down on the day before, where we had 11. Now, according to the national stats yesterday, there were 2 cases in Macardo. There was 31 cases in Corfu. There were 5 cases in Kefalonia, and Zakynthos has had another 4 cases reported here. That brings our total for the month of July now up to 52 cases, and when you consider that in June we only had 7, but the month before in May we had 44, our infection rate has gone higher than what we would like it to be. So hopefully we'll see how that is going to affect us in the way things have been organised here in Greece. Anyway, at the moment, when it comes to deaths are down, which is good across the country. 14 deaths reported to you yesterday. Today, 7 new deaths. That brings the death total now up to 12,840 since the pandemic started. The average age of those people passing away, 79 years of age, 96% of them having underlying health problems or were over the age of 70. And once again, our condolences to the families that are affected. Luckily, no deaths have been reported on Zakynthos since June, so let's hope it just stays that way. Our last time that we had any deaths here was in May, and we had 3 deaths in May, an 85-year-old man, a 70-year-old woman, and another 70-year-old man. So when it comes to critical cases slightly up on yesterday. I did say that yesterday we had 123 critical cases across the country. At the moment, it is now 124 critical cases. 77 of those are male, 47 of those are female. The average age of critical patients is 67. 83% of those have underlying health problems or are over the age of 70. So once again, we hope that those people get well soon. Right, let's get on to the news, because at the moment the news is just, off the scale in some respects, but I'm going to crack on anyway. Due to the worsening epidemiology situation on the Aegean and on the island of Mykonos, the authorities have imposed a ban on music in entertainment venues from last night, which started at 6 o'clock. And there was also a ban on traffic as well. So they had a curfew that started at 1 o'clock in the morning and ran through till 6 o'clock in the morning. And that is going to run now there in Mykonos until the 26th of July. Now, furthermore, no parties or private events with more than 20 participants will be allowed on the island. We're talking about Mykonos here, we're not talking here, not yet anyway, with violations of restrictions incurring fines of €50,000 up to €200,000 on the organiser of the event. The government has decided against an island lockdown at this time, but the situation continues to deteriorate and the measures may become necessary. Now, you may remember last year that we were tagged into what went on in Mykonos because of the increasing infection rate. We then got put into the orange here on Zakynthos, and basically, even though we had a very low infection rate, we had no deaths or anything else like that. Because we're a party island, because of Laganas, we were lumped into the same as Mykonos, Santorini, and all of those places, and by default, we had our season basically ruined because of what had gone on there. And of course, we were deemed to be just as bad as what Mykonos was, even though our numbers were anywhere near what they were. And this is what worries me at the moment, is that we are going to get lumped in with whatever's happening in Mykonos, and they may decide that, for safety's sake, because of super spreaders and all of the other bollocks that they seem to start getting excited about, that we may get lumped into that. And I really do not want to see that happen here on Zakynthos. Anyway, it's interesting that I was looking at the opposition, which, to be honest, I've got to be honest, the Syriza opposition, unlike the Labour Party in the UK, a credible opposition that doesn't rubber stamp everything that the government says and does, or basically says, the government should have done it quicker, harder, faster, which is what Keir Starmer had been doing in the UK in regards to lockdowns. But it was interesting to see that there was a tweet out this morning from Tsipras, who's the former Prime Minister and the president of the Syriza party, which is like the main opposition party here in Greece. He actually says the lockdown in Mykonos is a certificate for utter failure. He said, emphasising it sends a negative signal for all our tourism. He said, if there was such a philothemos, which means a friendship, if there was such a friendship, we would hear an apology for the rough and tumble opening of tourism. He said, instead of an apologising, he said, however, there's only self-admiration and targeting of the citizens. Basically what he says, they're all patting themselves on the back saying, oh, what a fantastic job we're doing, trying to keep everybody safe with all this extra measures being put in place. And to be honest, all it's doing is really undermining the tourist market and making other people think, do we want to go there or not because of the measures that they're taking? So sometimes this over-eagerness can actually work negatively towards trying to keep a good reputation going, keep things going, and obviously will work against them. Obviously, all those people on that island of Mykonos now who paid a lot of money to go on holidays there because they ain't cheap, they're going to be mightily pissed off that they can't go out anywhere, they can't even sit in somewhere, hear some music, have some entertainment, and the danger is that we get targeted because of what's going on there, and we might actually end up in the same situation. However, also as well, coming back here to Zakynthos, extensive police investigations for drug trafficking are continued to be carried out in Zakynthos after the departure of the Civil Protection Minister, Mykonos Island, after his lightning visit. Now, information indicates that the investigation focusing on Laganas at the moment and also into Zanti town, where the police, they say at the moment, the police know things, that's the wording in the report, and that more reports are to be released. It seems that Hermes News at the moment is going to have some kind of scoop story coming soon. And when I look at some of the other information that's coming from some of the other media sources here on Zakynthos, it's also been announced that the police here are going to undergo some structural changes, which are going to be run by an independent department, which is actually going to be run from the airport. Now, what that means is we're not 100% sure yet, but put it this way, they're expecting now, police authorities have said now that they're going to be sending 120 more police officers here to Zakynthos, and they will be here basically on the island by next Friday. And they are already now starting plans for basically returning lawless, or getting rid of lawlessness in Laganas, and basically starting to put measures and implementations in there. The interesting thing is to see that some of the measures that they're just broad brushing over at the moment is that these 120 police officers, they're going to be involved in foot patrols now. So it won't be policemen driving up and down the streets like they have done with the blue lights on, where everybody behaves themselves, and as soon as the blue lights disappear, everybody goes back to being naughty again. It looks like that these police are going to be on the ground, boots on the ground. I like the way that the Greek language described them as infantry, but it's going to be boots on the ground policing, which will be interesting because, again, I do remember when Cornwall police came to Laganas many years ago to run policing, and Cornwall police actually walked the streets with the local police here to say this is how we do policing in England and regards Saturday nights, etc., etc. It's nice to see that at the time the local police here didn't take it very seriously, and now it looks like their hand is being turned, where it looks like it is going to get serious now, and they are going to have to get out of their cars and actually walk, make relationships, friendships with people within bars, business owners, etc., and basically start what I would say is community policing rather than policing by a flashing blue light. Anyway, also as well, following the explicit order of the Minister of the Civil Protection, the main road of Laganas, that is also going to be closed for the following days from the evening to the morning for safety of citizens. Basically, I think he saw the way that that road gets out of control. So basically, for this reason, from Tuesday the 20th, once the additional police officers arrive on the island, and again, they're mainly going to be part of foot patrolling, Laganas, that part of Laganas will be closed from Big Boys right the way down to the sea, and also the side roads that go onto that main road, they're also going to have police presence there from the sounds of it, from the initial information that we get. And at the moment, as I've said before, there's 120 police officers that are going to be reinforcing the island here, and they're going to be here operating during the summer. Now, wonder how many of those will stay. We will wait and see. Anyway, the minister then said yesterday that a clear message is being sent to both the political leadership of the island and the officers of the Zakynthos police force that legality must occur again in Zakynthos and especially in Laganas. So it looks like Laganas is going to be the target. Also, as well, to this end, more news has been coming out about intensive checks that have been carried out on the Ionian Islands by special teams whose job is basically to go out and make sure that the implementation of the coronavirus measures are being applied to. It seems that on Friday night, Corfu police recorded 2 violations in a cafe bar for the service of standing customers, and fines of 5,000 and 2,000 euros were given, plus the suspension of operations for 7 days were imposed on those businesses as well. Also, during the same period, there were 5 violations found in Corfu, 4 in Zakynthos, 1 in Kefalonia for the non-use of masks by employees and customers in stores, for which again €300 fines were given to those people caught without masks in those places. So once again, they are out and about. The police, at the moment, we're going to wait and see how it's all going to change once these new bobbies on the beat all turn up here next week, and whether the police will be spread over the whole of the island or will it just be centred around Laganas and Zante town as well. But anyway, the Deputy Interior Minister, Stelios Petas, was speaking on Greek television about home vaccinations programme, which has just started here in Greece. We're making an effort, he said, together with the local government and the Minister of Health. We have, are starting with the Greek mobile health units for home vaccinations in remote places, and home vaccinations for vulnerable groups have been launched, he said, noting that there is no issue of adequacy of vaccines. We have enough vaccines to staff the mobile units. Basically, you might remember this is a report from a few weeks ago where there were issues again about home help type people going into the homes of old people who don't have family, because here Greece everything is about family, people being able to get you to appointments, etc. And there was a group of vulnerable people here, older people, who basically were getting left behind because, one, they didn't know how to get the vaccine, 2, they obviously can't work a computer, and they obviously rely on a home help or somebody to come in and make sure that they're all right. So now the law was changed to allow entry of the medical staff into homes so that the vaccination process for them could be carried out. Now, for the obligation in vaccines, Petas explained that the need for vaccinations is the same wherever one works. There will be announcements from the government next week, as the minister explained, on the issue of vaccinations is valuable and ethical. He said one issue raised by the inspections by employees themselves in restaurants and entertainment venues, the minister explained that it is a temporary need to protect the public interest. The summer period is very important for vaccination. This is the only way to stop the measure in the fall, obviously the autumn. So anyway, it seems that again, people did ask questions about dismissals for unvaccinated, asked about will there be layoffs for workers who do not want the vaccine. Mr. Petas replied that we are waiting for announcements from the government next week. But he also estimated that the Labour legislation provides a lot of flexibility and the dismissal is the last stage. Until then, he said, there are no other solutions. What are the solutions on the table right now for unvaccinated civil servants? He's mainly talking about these people. Suspension of work is not a punishment. It's an incentive to get vaccinated. Yeah, all right then. I don't see it that way. Anyway, he said we do not need to go from the beginning to the pandemic solution. That is to dismissal. He answered and judged that in the Pacific groups of workers and vaccinations may be accelerated in the coming weeks. Now, in addition, Mr. Petras said there are many forms of flexibility in both the private and public sector, such as teleworking. Yeah, I can always DJ from the house and DJ into the venue. There's always one of they doing that. He said, are we expecting local lockdowns in areas where there is problems with the increased cases? it's not the best scenario to discuss. So in other words, he wasn't going to discuss the question. He also said the package of measures we have taken for catering and boat trips is enough, he noted, and pointed out for the increase of cases that we see in the last days, that it comes from the 3 days of the Holy Spirit. They're on about the, celebrations that we had a few days that we've had here on the island. He said this will begin to balance thanks to inspections at ships and airports. At the moment, I do know that some of the rules they put in place for boat trips, etc., were very heavily handedly first implied. But once the legislation was read by those operating, it was realised that they were going over the top with it and backed it down a bit, because basically it was putting people off taking trips. Also as well, when we talk about boat trips, we're also talking about your ferry trips as well. People getting on and off ferries. It is understood now that the port police now are supposedly the ones that are checking to make sure people are actually the people, they have the vaccination certificate, that they're vaccinated before they're allowed to travel, or they are negative on a test before they're allowed to travel on the ferries. And again, we're still waiting to see what the feedback has been like on that. Remember, we have a lot of Greeks who will come from Athens, Thessaloniki, places like that for their holidays. And as I've said before, it's not the tourists bringing in a lot of this infection. It's Greece spreading it among themselves across the country, not so much the foreign tourists coming in from outside. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that one as we always do. Also as well, Thursday and Friday, Zakynthos Airport had a total of 16 migrants which were arrested by police officers in 5 different cases. They were using forged travel documents and attempting to illegally board flights to Italy, the Netherlands and Belgium. All those caught were obviously taken before the public prosecutor's office. So there you go. It's been a lot going on here, but our main concern at the moment is what's happening in Mykonos, how this may have a knock-on effect here to us in Zakynthos. We were affected last year just by association of the fact that we had a party section on our island in the same way that Corfu does as well. And we were all lumped in with them. So we had the same draconian rules placed on us, even though our infection rate was below everything. We had no death rate, no hospitalizations to speak of. We were still brushed with them because of what was going on there. So hopefully we're going to see how this plays out in Mykonos. I know there's a lot of entertainers here at the moment who are becoming very, very disillusioned, very disappointed with what's going on, because one, the clarity of what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, that is still not 100% really clear to everybody. But at the moment, the plan is, for me at least anyway, go back into Magdalenas for Tuesday. We will see for the 21st, which is when, again, some new rulings come into place in regards to entertainment as to the way that we will proceed. But at the end of the day, that's all we can do. It's out of our hands. Now we've got all this extra policing coming onto the island. The thing now is to see how draconian that policing is going to be. We know that Laganas is their main priority and their main target, but when you've got all these police, you're wondering if they're all going to get farmed out to all the different resorts, and it will just come down to the way that these guys want to enforce the law, and just how difficult or how easy they're going to make it for us. We're only going to find out in time as things go on. But please, don't let this put you off your holiday, all right? I know there are people so excited to be coming on holiday. I've met some delightful people yesterday who've arrived on their holiday, who've never been here before, and really liking what they're seeing and liking the environment, liking the people, liking the food, loving the weather, even though at the moment there's a heat wave going on in the UK, and people are sending me little messages at the moment saying, hey, we got 29 degrees in England, in Canterbury, in Kent, and in Brighton. Yeah, they're having a heat wave over there. So as they say, everything you need for a good holiday in Britain they have at the moment. You could always count on the weather as being the factor to bring people away, but it looks like the weather at the moment is very good. So when we see your Freedom Day coming on Monday, we'll see if Boris is not going to start thinking about, well, the weather's good, they won't mind staying in England having their holiday, and we'll stop them from going abroad. We'll bring another rule in that will make it just more difficult and more awkward. But again, that's the way things seem to be. Everything seems to be off the cuff, off the hip. And Steve Hinkling just sent me a message saying, Galimera, yes, I'm very excited. Steve should have been coming tomorrow, all right? But I think he's coming about a week later. He is. So, but anyway, we have people who are looking forward to coming over. And Steve is staying at Magdalena's in rooms there. Once again, if you want to book a room at Magdalena's, go onto the Magdalena's website and obviously book your room there. I'm just going to have a quick look to see who's tuning in at the moment. Rachel Hanson is tuning in. Shane Bowen says, morning, Ginge, could hit 30 today over Exmoor. See what I mean? Also, can I just thank Shane as well for tuning in last night to beatsradio.co.uk. All those people who tuned in yesterday. There's a bit of a party going on in the dance room, in the chat room there last night, which was really good to see. My dance anthem show was being repeated from Friday night. Don't forget that tonight I've got my Northern Soul show. That goes on air 5 o'clock in the UK. That's 7 o'clock here. Come and join us. 2 hours of Northern Soul. And I've got a fantastic new Northern Soul group that has got some of their tunes. They're called The Signatures. Absolutely amazing. I've featured them this week in the show. And they're like what I call modern Northern Soul, keeping Northern Soul alive, like ska music. Basically, there's always ska reinterpretations of stuff. Northern Soul, a little bit more select, best way to describe it. However, it's nice to see people doing the style of Northern Soul and doing some new stuff in that style as well. So come and join the show. Signatures special feature tonight on beatsradio.co.uk with me, DJ Ginge. Carol Walker is watching as well. Rainer Pete Dillon is also tuning in. Somebody just said to me, fantastic band, seen them live a few times. Do you know what? I really do want to see them live. They're a 10-piece band with a brass section. Just trying to remember the name of the lead singer, but what a voice. What an absolute fantastic voice, and such great musicians as well. So look out for The Signatures. They've got a single out called Running, and that is out now at the moment. They've got an album called Surrender. Just awesome group, and I think I play about 3 of their tracks in the show today, just to show the talent of the group and also promote their new single as well. Also, anybody else there? Mike Glattenley's tuning in as well. Carol Davis. I saw a big comment from somebody. I'm trying to desperately get to it. Shayna Pete Dillon said, still not looking forward to going home. Oh, you're here. Oh, bless you. Says, home. I'm still not looking forward going home to good weather. It's just not the same without the pool or the beach. Yes, that is true. And can I just say a quick hello to Jeff in Tunbridge Wells. He's got a three theme party. First of all, it's his dad's 92nd birthday. Second, he's celebrating him and his wife's wedding anniversary. I think they've been together for like 18 years. And thirdly, he's also celebrating his 57th birthday. He said, we've got the pool up in the garden. We've got the beers all chilling down. I said, make sure you put the beer in the pool because it can chill down quite nicely in the swimming pool. And they're going to be partying in Tunbridge Wells. So all the best to you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day. My brother at the moment is at Silverstone. And guess what? He sent me a video of them singing Sweet Caroline at Silverstone, which made me smile. So again, you have a great day. We'll see how the racing goes. See if Hamilton wins. Roll me eyes. Yeah, he's a good driver, but sometimes his politics just pisses me off, to be quite honest. But other than that, it's good to see that Silverstone is back up and running. Didn't see a mask in place, but as Jane said, it is sport. It is sport. All right, fair enough. A different set of rules for sport to everybody else. You just make sure when you have your party in your house that you don't get a knock on the door from the police who said you're breaking restrictions in some way, all right? So just be careful. But anyway, we'll wait and see what plays out. You have a good day. I'll keep my ear to the ground. And once again, thank you for the support. Thank you for the messages. And I will see you all a little bit later on. Ta-ra.